Welcome to our program, New Hope in the Lord. I am your co-host, Rosa Owens. Our host, Reverend Joe, he couldn't be here today, but with me today is Bob Licata. So, Bob, how you doing today?
Very well, thanks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's
Right.
the day after New
It's a
Year. So a lot of people make all kind of resolutions for the new year, but thank God we don't really have to do that.
Well, it's the one resolution I've heard best is out with the old and in with the new, which
Oh, okay.
is not exactly a resolution.
Well, the way I feel and the way I think it is, it's we have the guarantee from God, from the Word of God. So every day is a new day, and we have the guarantee that God does not leave us or forsake us. He's always there with us. So we rejoice in that today.
Amen. Amen.
So, Bob, would you like to introduce our guest today?
I certainly would. Good morning, Rhoan.
Good morning, Bob.
Rhoan Henry, welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
Welcome to our program, yes.
Rhoan, you were not always here in America, were you? Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Jamaica.
Jamaica, the country of Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
And in your upbringing up there, what was it like? I mean, here we live in the city, right? But in Jamaica, you lived more of a country setting.
Yes, I'm from the country, in Jamaica.
And it was a big family, right?
Yes, a big family. Yes, I have 8 sisters and 1 brother. In this family.
And you grew up with your mother and your father, right?
Yes.
Now that there was a church-going family, for most of you.
Yes, my mom made sure that we went to church and Sunday school. Yeah, and it's our tradition back home in Jamaica. Yeah, so even when you don't want to go to church, you have to go because and the parents say it's time to go to church.
Yeah, if you don't go, you don't eat.
Well, we have a lot of guests from Jamaica, and
Yeah.
it's most of them do have big families, and most of them their parents force them to go to church, and they become great people of God, trusting God. So that's
True.
really wonderful.
But in your case, you experienced something a little bit different, right? You had some difficulties growing up, right?
Yes, I have some difficulty growing up. Even when I was going to school, I did go to school, but I never comprehend anything. The teacher them tried to help me, but I couldn't learn. I never know what really happens, and I try hard, but I never have an education, I never learn how to read. Even my parents and my sister, he was trying to help me for me to learn my name, and it was difficult, and I know it was even frustrated for my mom, knowing that all our kids them could read, but what about me?
Wow.
And even one time I did say to my mom, I said, and then why God made me like this? And my mother, poor thing, she never even know to answer me.
Right.
But I came to America, I think in 1991.
How old were you when you came here?
I came here when I was 15, going on 16.
So in Jamaica, did you go through the schooling, the elementary, middle school? No?
Yes, I went to, when I was small, I went to school, and I go through every grade, never learn.
Did you pass the grades, or did they just push you?
No, they push you
along?
because because you stay in our class for a year, then they're moving to the next grade, and that's what happened. And every grade that I go to, I never learn it. I would look on the board, and I would just write down everything, just copy whatever is on the board.
You didn't comprehend it.
No, I couldn't comprehend it.
So did they label you learning disability?
Yeah, them never really put it like that in Jamaica, like in America here. Them just put stuff on the board, and when I even go home, my mom and so would try to help me, with homework, how to spell and all this stuff, but I still couldn't.
Didn't stick.
No, it didn't stick.
It's like water off a duck's back.
It was like
Like
water
you
off a
said.
duck's back, yes.
Yeah. And then did you, back in Jamaica, did you have any experiences where this caused problems for you beyond how you felt, but did you get into any kind of trouble or problems there with your friends or neighbors?
No, I never get in problem concerning my reading. Well, I know one thing I did really feel ashamed, and hurt,
Yeah.
knowing that you can't read. And if somebody show you a word and say, what is this? And if you can, tell them what's the meaning of that word, they will make fun. You have people will do that, but not everyone.
Right. So you were bullied a little bit in Jamaica.
Yeah, I'm not. I didn't really get bullied over that because I keep it to myself.
I see.
You understand? I keep it to myself because I was even shameful to tell someone say I can't read. So that's what can also keep her in isolation, from certain things.
Yes.
You don't want to get yourself involved in a certain thing because somebody find out that you can't read, and so
Right.
you understand. They tell this one and they tell that one, and the wrong person will can find out and they will make fun of you.
And ruin you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and back in Jamaica too, what some people will do, they have a thing called bulla, which is cake. They will write your name on it, and they will give it to you to eat. And when you eat it, they will ask you, do you know what was written on it? And you will say, no. And they will say, it was your name. And so they make a fun of you. You see where I'm coming from? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's,
Right.
Yeah.
so what
that-
happened when you came to America?
Well, before I came to America, right, I was very disobedient to growing up. I began to start to smoke marijuana from an early age. And that also helped me to be more stubborn. You understand me? So, and then my mom is the one that was always hold the family together. In what way? By constantly praying. And I believe that is because of my mother prayer also, I get protection.
Definitely.
Yeah, but my mom, she came to America, and my dad, so they filed for us, and I came up here in 91.
But your dad didn't come. He stayed back in Jamaica, or did he come?
No,
with you?
my father was the first one who traveled to the United
Oh,
States of
okay.
America. And then,
then
I
she
think
came?
he filed for my mom, and she come up, and the both of them filed for us.
What about your sisters and your brother? Did they come up too?
Yes, all of us are here.
Oh, so all of you came.
Yes.
So,
So what happened when you came to the U.S.? Did you enroll in school or did you go to work?
Yes, no, because I came here when I was 15, 16. So my mom, enrolled me in Mount Vernon High School. Yeah, I started to go to Mount Vernon High School. They put me, I think, in the 9th grade. And that start there again. The teacher also in 9th grade try her best to help me. But as I say, I never comprehend anything. They make sacrifice, and the teacher them really want to see me learn.
Right.
But in the high school there, in Mount Vernon High School, I even start to sell marijuana in there and smoke, and I meet friends, and I began to do bad stuff. Oh, yes.
and what happened after that then? Got you into trouble?
Yeah, one of the time there, I have a fight in Mount Vernon High School. I have a fight with this young man, and I almost hurt him. And what happened, I did have this friend. Why I get kicked out of Mount Vernon High School, there's a friend that I have, some misunderstanding that go on between me and him. And he come against me in a bad way, like he want to fight me. But I did always also carry a knife with me because I was very fast and skillful on my knife. And what happened, right? He was my friend, but he said something that really get me real upset. And what he said that him have him gun. And so I said to him, say, yeah, you have your gun. And that get me real upset that I go and pull my knife from my waist, and I hold him on against his throat now to cut him. And when I do that, many of my friends them rush to me and hold on my hand and said, "No, don't do this."
Thank God.
Right? And I get really hungry, but I cut after him to try to cut against his belly. But what happened, right? He have on jacket. It ripped through his jacket, but it never touched him.
Oh.
And so the friend them hold on to me and said, "No, the security is coming." So now I let go the knife and I run and I try to escape. So I went home. But the next day when I went back to school, somebody did already point out, you know, who did it and the knife. And so they bring me into the office and they began to talk to me. And so that caused me to get kicked out of Mount Vernon High School. And then they sent me to another school, you know, which I went to that school. It was a bad school, them say.
Sure.
And I went to that school and they was fighting again. And I almost broke somebody's chest there, and they kicked me out from that school. So
Yeah, a lot of violence.
It kept on escalating.
Yes, yes.
But didn't you tell them that you were self-protecting yourself because the guy had a gun?
No, I didn't. You see, let me show you something about. There are certain things that I really grew up with principle. I was very disciplined not to inform. Inform means not to snitch.
Oh.
Not to snitch.
Yeah, I was that type, you know. I just hung things my way, but I never.
I don't think they would have forgiven you anyway because you were going after him with intent to harm him.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, that is true.
Now, what led to you? You know, so after the second school, a little bit later, you wound up going to jail, right? What was it? Part of this violence or the marijuana?
Well, I come here in America and I met a lot of friends, Jamaican, who hanging out on the street. So now I began to hang out with them, some selling drugs, smoking marijuana, some selling marijuana, and also some of them, they was in gang. So I also enjoy myself with them. And this gang called, what was the name? Oh, the Dogs of War. Oh yes, so I was in that gang also. It come like a family.
Sure. You felt secure with them.
Yes, you know, we also treat each other like brother. So if somebody touch me, you know what's going to happen. It's going to cause war.
Okay.
Yes.
But this was really a false protection in a way. So what happens after that?
Well, the first time when I get arrested is that some of my friends, them go and do robbery. So them went to rob the store, and they brought a lot of clothes. So them began to boast off now, you know, wearing nice clothes to school. So I went with them, and we robbed the store, and then we escaped, and we give out clothes to this one, to that friend. And then another time, right, them said them gonna rob this store. I went with them, but I was the lookout. While they were in the store moving around, the alarm go off, I think, privately where it's set off to the precinct. And then when I look, the building surrounded with police.
Right.
Now, my friend them run, and I start to run in a different direction when all the police them surrounded me. And that was the first time I'm getting arrested. And them took me down to the precinct.
Now, eventually you did wind up in prison, though.
No, I didn't wind up in prison then because
not that time, but I mean eventually you did.
Yes, which that took me to I went on probation. So them gave me 5-year probation, but I was not still behaving myself. I was still smoking marijuana while I was on probation.
Right.
And what did your mother do? Did she know you were doing all these things?
Oh yes. My mom, no, but it really bring a lot of pain to her heart.
Sure.
Because when she hear in the newspaper, her son get arrested for burglary,
right.
It's very shameful.
That's not the way you were brought up.
No, my mom is a loving mother and a true child of God. So, it's going to hurt her.
Right.
So through this time, I'm sure you were not going to church. Were you reading the Bible? Were you going
No,
to church?
because how could I read Bible when I don't know to read?
That's right. Okay, so you didn't even attend church.
No, I wasn't attending church. The
And-
church that I was attending is among the gang.
The gang.
That yeah.
That was your church. Huh?
Yes, going
The
in
street
party.
church.
My street church. You know, going partying and drinking and smoking. That's where I think that, you know, that's fun.
But eventually, it all caught up with you, and you wound up in jail. What happened when you went to finally you got a sentence to 1 to 3 years, right?
Yes, how did that happen? Let me tell you how it happened, how I ended up in prison. Is that me and one of my friends was planning to go outstate to sell drugs, right? So I said to him, say, I'm going to violate probation, mean that I'm not going to go to probation anymore. So I have a plan to go outstate with my friend and sell drugs.
Out of state.
But the morning, right, I was on the street, and this is how it worked. I see two police, there was reasoning, and as I see everything, and I say to myself, say, you know, it's me, the police, them talking about. Why? Because I say, I violate probation, and I'm not going to probation. But the morning, there was two spirit was speaking to me, and I never did know. So one of the mind said, run and escape. But I know I was always running from police and always escaping from police. So one mind said, run. The other one said, don't run. And it was going back and forward, right? And I was analyzing the two voices. And I was saying that if I run, I will escape and I will go outstate. I said, if I don't run, I'm going to get arrested and go to prison. Then I began to look into it very carefully, and I make a decision. And I say to myself, say, I'm not going to run. That decision was very wise. So the police come and walk down to me with no fighting, no running. It was very easy. And I walk with the police to the precinct. When I go inside, I saw my picture on the wall. So I know that
a wanted picture on the wall.
Yes, because, you know, I violate probation. I'm not going to probation, so them have a warrant for me.
So did you end up in jail?
Yes, I end up in the Westchester County jail.
We know it.
Yes. So this is how it started now. So I was there, right, in the Westchester County jail. Don't know how to read, right? Cannot spell my name. Duns, very backward. Anyway, while I was there, I have a dream about my mom. She was praying for me while I was making marijuana. And I was watching, and my father was in the dream. And so I wake up the morning, right, in jail and move around. I heard a still small voice spoke to me and said, you can learn to read. That voice really put something in me, and it gave me confidence. So I asked the guard inside the jail, and I asked them, do you guys have any school here? And them say, oh yes.
Wow.
And I said, I would love to go to. And I started to go there, and there's a gentleman that was there. And I'm telling you, that God is really wonderful. This person was there, for a reason. And he was so patient that he had the patience to take his time to go over, I don't know, ABC. So he take his time patiently and start to teach me. And from there, I take my little time and I start, creep, and I start to read a little bit. And so I get a Bible. Somebody gave me a Bible in there. You know what? I think I jump ahead. Before that, let me show you the miracle now, before I start to learn to read. I remember I picked up a Bible in Valhalla, in the jail, and the Bible opened at Genesis 1:1. Now I don't know what to read, you know. When the Bible opened, I began to say, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was void. And I dropped the Bible. And I said, what is this? And I feel something in me, some kind of burning. I can't even know explain it. And I said, why it so like I'm reading the Bible? You know? So I realized that, you know, I never realized anyway that it was God doing.
That's right.
Because I was unsaved.
But that was the confirmation of that
Yes.
voice that
Yes.
you
Yes.
can learn to read.
Yes, yes,
And gave
yes.
you the confidence to push forward and to work with that man later on to learn more and more and more. Right?
That is true.
But now they program you. You tried to sign up for a program, and then it wound up that you had a little bit of an incident going to an actual prison. And tell us about the sports activity you were involved with, where you had a plan to get into this schooling program, right? You were going to do something evil. You were going to hurt somebody, right? When you were playing that soccer that day.
Yes. What happened now? Before I was in Valhalla, they gave me after they sentenced me. I was there for 3 months. Now they're going to send me off to prison. Now, so I went to prison. I think this prison was upstate in Buffalo. And when I went there, right, they told me that this prison is a program where you can be there for 6 months, and then if you do good, they send you home. Anyway, I asked them, you know, a question if I can go, if I'm going to go to school, and them say yes. So I was very excited because since I started to learn to read now, you know,
Yeah,
You
I feel
felt confident.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So I say, okay, since I'm going to go to school, I will sign up for it. That's the reason why I signed up for it. Now, I was there for 2 months and I was not going to school. So it began to trouble me. So I went to the guard there and I asked them, say, why I am not going to school? They tell me something else, right? And I didn't like it. And I said to myself, say, these people deceive me because I want to go to school. Then that caused me to be angry. Now I plan that I want to do something evil. Oh yes, because I said that they deceived me and I'm not going to school. So I put some pencil together and I tie them that they be strong, that I'm going to stop somebody. I'm going to do some damage. And anyway, while I'm thinking and I'm meditating, right, I went outside. They have, you know, where you can play sports. So I was playing soccer. And while I was running, right, I fell, I break my feet, my left feet here, and it was very hurt. So when I was trying to walk back to the cell, I couldn't put pressure on it. So some other inmate, they helped me to get back.
So then they had to take you to the hospital. Right?
Yes, they got to take me
out?
to the outside hospital to go and do an X-ray.
And now, how did this disqualified you from proceeding? Right, you could no longer be in that prison. They had to send you to transfer you to another one, right?
Yes, yes, because this prison is set up like a program,
Right.
where you have to be like you're in the military. When you get up, you have to say, sir, yes, sir.
Right.
And you have to spread your bed. You can't even sleep on it in the day. And you have to shine your shoes. And everything about you have to be neat.
But you couldn't do any of that now because of the. So now in the next prison, you met somebody who was a little bit more helpful now, right? You got a different opportunity.
Yes, them send me to this new prison. And they have school where I could really go to school now.
Right.
You know, where you can sit in a class. And that's where I began to get, you know, a little bit more help and start to read a little bit more better.
So did you read, excuse me, but did you get into the Bible at this point? Oh,
no.
How was your work with God?
No,
did you hear his voice?
No, I didn't hear his voice at that time when I was going to school. I was there after I started to do, you know, what is right. So, you know, when you do what is right and when you go to the board where you're going to see and stand up before these three men.
Oh, for the parole.
Yeah, for the parole. They are the one that decide if you should go home or, you know.
And then they let you go out then on parole.
Yes, they look at me and told me that I'm walking on a white line.
Right.
Yes.
So
that means that they have the power to deport me back home to my country. Yes.
So what happened? Did you come out of that?
Yes, I come out and they send me home. And this was I was in there from 94 and I came out 95.
Now, there's a story you told me about afterwards. Now, you got out and you looked a little different back then, right? You were on parole, but you still had long hair, right?
Yes, I was a dread. I turned Rasta now, you know, with my hair grow long and my beard. So I look like a lion.
Right, right. But now you were living around near Mount Vernon, and you ran into an experience there where somebody bumped into you, so to speak, right? As a man on the street?
Yes. This gentleman on the street came up to me and he began to minister to me, you know, inviting me for me to come to church. And I listened to him, but I never go to church, you know, at that time. But what happened now, I was passing on one day the church, and that was on First Avenue, right? And while I was walking about my business, I met the gentleman again.
Wow.
And
same fella, the same church?
Yes, the same church that I was passing. And he came to me and he started to speak to me. And he was speaking to me in a very serious way. And everything that he was saying, you know, I could feel it. And I said to myself, you know, I need to go to church.
That's right.
And I told him, and I make a promise to him, say, you know, that Sunday, I'm going to go to church. And it was in 1997 in the summer.
As you told me that later on there was a conference at the church that they had a speaker from England, and you know, that was the result of your giving. That's how you wound up giving your life to the Lord. You know, it's important with our testimony that we explore and give the truth of our heart, and God's changed you, and I just want people to know that you know, here is a new man in Christ.
Amen. So
thank you very much for giving your testimony, for joining us today.
Thank you
really
so much, because prayer does avail much.
Yes,
it always goes so fast.
Yes, and
yes.
God's hand is upon his children, and he had a praying mom, and God delivered him. So no matter where you're at and you feel like you cannot see yourself through the situation, just keep on trusting God. Look to the Lord. Nothing is impossible with him. He's a good God. We thank you so much for watching our program today, and tune in next time.